Hello, everyone. This is Brother Benson, and I'm here with Miguda this Sunday morning. Miguda, habari gani?
Niko salama, nashukuru Mola, nimeamka
Eh,
poa huku
mhm,
Kenya,
mm.
na pia nashukuru ya kwamba ni Sunday njema sana.
Leo unajua kuna wale ambao wanaelekea makanisani. Najua jana nilikuwa siku yako ya kuomba ama kwenda kupigia Mwenyezi Mungu asante, na leo kuna wale baadhi ya watu ama baadhi ya Wakenya wenzetu, dada zetu ambao wanaenda, na leo pia nadhani kwa saizi ni kitu kama saa moja, nadhani kama Luo Festival imeisha. Unajua jana kulikuwepo na wanajiita Luo Festival ambapo pilikuwa pale Uhuru Gardens, na nilikuwa naona tu kanda mbalimbali, naona kwamba watu walikuwa wamefurahia sana kwa sababu wanamuziki ambao wamebobea katika sehemu za Ujaluoni kama Emma Jalamo alikuwa pale, Prince Inda, Odongo Swag, Musa Jakadala Joyman was there, and Costa too. Costa Ojuang also was there. So I think they enjoyed, those who had an opportunity to be there. So we will be waiting for them to at least show us how it was. But generally, from the way things are, I feel they had their best. So anyway, how is your morning?
I can say that my morning is okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've woken up very well,
Yeah.
and it's also a chilly morning here,
Mm-hmm.
and I hope that it's gonna be good the whole day.
Mm-hmm.
I also had the opportunity to watch the Luo Festival,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw Luo artists, the popular ones, the famous one, the ones you
Yeah.
have mentioned. I
Mm-hmm.
also saw the young tax, the upcoming one like Javan Maka Judo was present there.
Mm-hmm.
People like Kofi. And I also saw some Luo leaders were also present, and they were promoting the artist whenever they
Mm-hmm.
were called to. Whenever an artist was called to present, some leaders were also coming on the stage. Like I saw Embakasi East Member of Parliament promoting Odongo Swag. So it's a
Babu.
good thing that Babu Owino. It unites people. It brings leaders and artists together. You understand? It brings
Mm-hmm.
people of a community. It's a cultural celebration, and it has
Yeah.
been missing in action for quite a long time now. It is back, and also the organizer is also Langata MP Jalas. So I
And
think it was a good thing.
And now, let me ask you, we want to thank the organizers, especially for bringing that spectacular entertainment in Nairobi. But my question is, if you look at the Luo Festival, we know that Kisumu is one of the counties that I would say that the headquarters of the Luo nation. Why do you think that it was not taken to Kisumu, but they just decided to take it to Nairobi?
Very good question. Even me, I thought that way. But if you look at the Luo in general,
Yeah.
where there are many people in a city or town, the Luo
Yeah.
are mainly in Nairobi compared to Kisumu town, and even in Mombasa, because you understand
Mhm.
they have migrated in search of jobs, in search of
Yeah.
employment, and also
Yeah.
in search of many things. That's why it is very easy for you to win some seats in Nairobi. You understand, Luos have almost 5 MPs in Nairobi. They are controlling part of Nairobi. You understand? Even that's why Raila, when he goes for demonstration, is having a
Yeah.
massive crowd following him. So most of
Yes.
the people are in Nairobi, and most of the people also who are the posh Luos, are in
Mhm.
Nairobi. So whenever you organize that event, it's very important and to bring it Nairobi, because that is why you get more customers. Unlike Kisumu, you'll make people to travel all along from Nairobi to Kisumu or from Mombasa to Kisumu. But Nairobi, is more of it's in the center, and it brings many people together. And even
Good. Are you still there?
the MPs, it is only like Musa. I'm saying people like Musa Joma, when they were singing, they used to say,
Mhm.
okay, you pass my greetings to the Luos in Kisumu, you pass my greetings to the Luos in Migori, Homa Bay, Siaya, Kababa, then they will finish Nairobi city. And even when the president was also saying, he said that, okay, those my friends in Nairobi city, the Luos, you must recognize them because they're in Nairobi and Mombasa, and they also go further, even outside the Kenya. But I believe that most of the posh Luos are in Nairobi.
So does it mean that it was more of entertainment rather than celebrating the cultures? Because if at all we were saying that, okay, we are celebrating our culture, we could have taken it to headquarters, or maybe it's more or less like they're looking at business, something that can even bring in the return. That could also play a part.
There are quite different events in the Luo culture.
Yeah.
The one which was happened, it's Luo Festival. It was more of entertainment, but also the targeted population, because it was costly, and also the tickets were costly. So they were targeting a certain Luo. But also, you understand, there was another one for Johnny Jr. called Nyadi Festival. Nyadi Festival also targeting a certain group. And the one you are calling about, the cultural celebration, it usually happens yearly. The other one we had last year was in Siaya Kababa. You understand, when Museveni came, Ruto was there. They went to go to Ramogi. But this year, it's going to happen in Migori County. So it's usually rotational in the 4 counties, the cultural celebration. But this one was more of an entertainment.
Okay, asante sana Migudo. Unajua ikifika kwa uwanja wa burudani kuna vitu vingi ambao watu wanauliza, kwa sababu umesema hii ni fest, hii si cultural, kwa sababu kama ingekuwa cultural tungeona zile vyakula mbalimbali na tuseme kwamba mavazi, vitu kama hizo. Asante sana Miguda kwa kuchukua nafasi asubuhi ili tufanye mazungumzo. Hatutakaa hapa kwa muda mingi sana, kwa sababu kuna tu jambo tu moja ambao tunataka kugusia tu, tusikie maoni yako na tusikie labda ni nini kilitendeka. Kabla tujaenda, kuna misemo hapa ambapo nataka pia unisaidie kutafakari. Sijui kama utanisaidia. Ni msemo mzuri tu, labda hata jioni leo tukikuja tena kwa katika kipindi tutaisema. Hapa ni Kiswahili, inasema kuwa hakuna haja ya kurembesha maandiko kwenye daftari la mazishi. Hakuna haja kurembesha maandiko kwenye daftari la maandishi. Wewe unaitafsiri ina maana gani hiki?
Hakuna haja ya kurembesha maandiko katika daftari la mazishi. Kwa maoni yangu, ningependa kutazama ya kwamba, unajua, unapoenda kwa mazishi unapata ya kwamba unaenda kuomboleza yule ambaye amepoteza maisha yake. Wakati unaomboleza wale familia, yule ambaye amepoteza maisha yake sasa ni marehemu. Marehemu hana haja ya kutazama maandishi zako. Marehemu hana haja na sifa unataka kumpatia wakati amekufa. Angali ungepata hizo sifa kama angekuwa hai. Sasa unajua aga dunia, hata ukirembesha maandishi ama urembeshe vitu zako kwa kitabu, ni tu mambo za siki sasa, kwa sababu unapata marehemu ana uwezo ya kuwa hai na kutazama vile unamsifu, vile unarembesha daftari. Sasa ukipatiwa nafasi ya kuandika daftari la mazishi, kazi lake nafaa kwa kazi rahisi sana. Wewe andika tu kwa lugha ya Kimombo, rest in peace. Lakini mambo na kujaribu kusema vile marehemu alikuwa mtu mzuri, vile marehemu alikuwa anakusaidia, vile marehemu, haina haja. Juu sasa marehemu hana nafasi ya kuona hizo sifa zake.
Unajua hapo kuna maneno mbili. Umefanya pia tena nikafikiria tena wazo lingine, kwa sababu umesema kurembesha maandiko inamaanisha kwamba labda utakuwa unasema maneno mazuri kuhusu yule ambaye ameaga. Na pia mimi nilikuwa naiangalia kwa mkondo huu. Nilikuwa naangalia labda tuseme kwamba nimepata nafasi kuandika pale, yani ndafanya juu chini ili maandiko yangu niirembeshe, kwamba mtu mwingine ambaye atakuja kuiona, ama kama siku ile wanafamilia ambao wamebaki watakuwa wanaendea, watakuwa wanaangalia, unajua, wakipitapita hizo maukurasa, wanaangalia ni nani alitutembelea, watakuja kupata kwamba maandiko yangu yani iliandikwa vizuri na kikarembeshwa yani, alafu labda mimi ndo nakuwa namba moja katika wale ambao walikuwa na maandiko mazuri sana katika lile daftari. Hivyo ndio mimi nilikuwa naiangalia, ama wewe ulikuwa unaiangalia aje?
Maoni tofauti, na hivyo ndio mbona sisi ni binadamu, hatuwezi fikiria kwa kauli moja. Sasa vile umesema, pia mimi siko na hiyo maoni, lakini umeniongeza mawazo tena. Ni ukweli, unapata kuna wale wanajua kuandika kuliko wengine, wako na maandishi mazuri. Sasa wanapopatiwa nafasi ya kuandika, wanaandika vizuri, na sababu unapata baadaye familia uketi chini na kutazama ni kina nani waliotembelea. Benson alikuja, maandishi ya Benson yalikuwa mazuri kuliko ya Miguda. Sasa unapata ni ukweli, kumbe hata Miguda ni mtu ambaye kuzungumza anajua, lakini kuandika ni bure kabisa. Vitu kama hizo unapata, vitu kama hizo. Ama kuna mtu anajua kuandika lakini kuzungumza hajui. Hiyo lakini hapo awali imesema haina haja. Sasa hata ukwenda maandishi mazuri ama baya, bado unapata kwamba marehemu naye ana uwezo ya kusema wewe uliyemtembelea kibinafsi ulikuwa na maandishi mazuri kuliko mwenzako, ama wewe uliyemtembelea ulikuwa na sifa nzuri kuliko mwenzako. Juu yeye sasa ana hiyo uwezo ya kutazama hiyo kitabu.
Asante sana. Tena unajua umesema kwamba jambo lingine pia kwamba alina haja. Unajua hata ukirembesha ufanye nini, kwanza marehemu ameenda, hakuna haja, hakuna tena labda siku ambacho labda tutasema kwamba atarudi. Sasa hata urembeshe ama ukose kurembesha maandiko ama katika ile daftari, bado tu atazidi kuwa marehemu. Thank you so much, Miguda, for that. You know, sometimes I usually take time to at least to teach myself how to speak Kiswahili.
You can check Barak. Barak is talking via WhatsApp. You can converse with Barak there, so you could progress.
Okay. Oh, is conversing? Let me see what Barak is saying here. Okay, he's telling me something. Okay, and let me see if I can get him. Let me see if I can get hold of him. Okay, thank you. So we were talking about, as we still wait for Barak, we're talking about the kurembesha kwa daftari. Unajua mara mingi saa zingine pia unapata kwamba kurembesha bado inanirudisha tu kwa ile kauli yako. Unapata kwamba kama huyu mtu bado alikuwa hai, unapata kwamba maoni yako kwake haikuwa ile maoni mazuri. Unapata mara mingi sana wakati mtu ashaaga, labda tunampatia heshima zake za mwisho, tunaweza pata kwamba tuko na maneno matamu ambao tunasema juu yake, ambapo tuwezi sema kama bado alikuwa hai. Baraka, habari gani?
Si jambo, habari zenyu?
Tuko vizuri. Hatukukuwa tumeanza kipindi kwa sababu labda ilikuwa ni mzuri, labda tulikuwa tunakungoja. Sasa kuna jambo hili, labda utafsiri ndio tuelekee katika mjadala wa leo. Huyu mtu anasema kwamba hivi, hakuna haja ya kurembesha maandiko kwenye daftari la mazishi. We kwako hiyo kwako unaweza sema jamaa alikuwa anamaanisha nini?
Hakuna haja ya kurembesha maandiko kwenye daftari ya mazishi. Labda niseme hivi. Unajua katika ile mila na tamaduni za Kiafrika tumelelewa ya kwamba ya kwamba hufai kuongea lolote libaya kwa marehemu. Unapata ya kwamba hata kama jamaa ameaga pale mtaa na jamaa alikuwa anahangaisha watu kweli kweli, lakini akikufa unasikia mtumishi wa Mungu aende salama, ameishi akihudumia Mungu vizuri nini, kwa sababu tumekuwa socialized kwamba hufai kuongea lolote ambayo ni libaya kwa marehemu. Yani so imekuwa ni matanga ama mazishi imekuwa ni jukwaa la kudanganyana, jukwaa la kueneza uongo, kwa sababu tunaogopa kusema ukweli kwa marehemu. Na unapata kwamba kama mtu mmoja atajitokeza aseme ukweli, watu watasema huyu haogopi marehemu, si nini. Sasa unapata kwamba jukwaa la mazishi ni kudanganya tu kuhusu marehemu, hatutaki kusema ukweli. Tunapaka tu, utasema unapaka mafuta na mgongo ya chupa.
Na unaona hiyo kauli ambayo umesema iko sawa na venye sisi wenyewe tunaishi, sisi wapiga kura na wanasiasa wenzetu, ambapo unapata kwamba hakuna haja ya kurembesha maandiko kwenye daftari la mazishi, ama hakuna haja sisi kama sisi ile tusemezane ukweli katikati ya sisi na wanasiasa.
Nakubaliana na hilo kauli, kwa sababu tunaishi kwa kudanganyana, na especially uhusiano kati ya mpiga kura na mpigiwa kura kama uhusiano kuhusu kati ya marehemu na ambao wameachwa. Tunadanganyana, tunatumia ukumbi kwa kudanganyana, kwa kupakana mafuta kwa mgongo ya chupa, na tunajua kwamba ukweli tunajua, lakini hakuna mtu ambaye ako willing ambaye anataka kuusema. Hata mtu akisoma akiongea anaongea tu, lakini ile ukweli ya kwamba anaulenga tu, anauhepa tu. So tunapoteza muda kwa kuongeleshana mambo ya uongo, na ukweli tunaujua, lakini hakuna mtu ambaye anataka kuzungumza.
Kweli unasema huyu jamaa mwizi huyu, ama huyu jamaa katili huyu jamaa sura mbaya, ama huyu jamaa mbaya huyu. Lakini ikikuja bali ya kumwambia ukweli, inapata kwamba hatusemi, tunamsifia sana. Hiyo ni kweli. Unajua, kila wakati maneno kama haya yakitokea, unapata kwamba kila mtu ako na mawazo tofauti na bado maana yake bado inakuja kwa moja. Thank you so much, Mr. Barack, for coming in this morning. I know we are not going to take a lot of time, but there's something that really happened that we want to, at least to air our views, you and Miguda, we want to see, and especially in the political landscape. Yesterday, the president invited a group of youths, or I might call them a group of Gen Z, to Statehouse, and they were very happy to be in Statehouse. Remember, the other time when they were trying to access the Statehouse, they were blocked, and you could not, it was barricaded by the security apparatus, and nobody would access it. But today, yesterday, they had an opportunity to access the Statehouse. I saw there was a lot of drinks, there was a lot of food, and even some people were saying that president should not even take 2 terms in a far akuwe milele, just because maybe there was food. We also saw quite a number of mega empowerment materials. There were so many. If you look at the money that was assembled yesterday, and you look at sometimes what we are going through even in our hospitals, talk about the schools, and you say that, you know, I don't know where the priorities and where we are, but that is what is there. So let me start with you, Barack. If you look at what happened yesterday, especially at the Statehouse with the president, even the prayers were offered in Sheng, and president, you know, everybody was there. Yeah. What was the criteria that was used, especially to know that these are the people who need empowerment? That is one. Secondly, did they work out with these materials, or they're supposed to collect them at a later date?
Well, that's a very interesting question
Mm-hmm.
because I was also asking myself the same question.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the group that visited Statehouse yesterday and looking at the composition of that audience
Mm-hmm.
and wondering uh, the criteria that was used to select the audience and
Yeah.
the criteria that was used to select the beneficiaries of that of the empowerment uh, the empowerment team that went to pick goodies from the State House yesterday. And I, from my observation, I think those are just people who are aligned to the broad-based ideology,
Yeah.
people who are supporting the re-election of the president and also the Nairobi governor. Because you know
Mm.
Nairobi governor and the president, they are on the same side, and they are all facing difficulty in terms of performance. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So number one, I think the Nairobi governor took advantage of that to try to 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 advance his influence in terms of the the voters of Nairobi. And number
Yeah.
two, they took at that. Initially, President Ruto, uh, the Nairobi the Nairobi voting bloc.
Yeah.
Normally the person who has been controlling Nairobi is Raila Odinga and then Uhuru Kenyatta. And when Uhuru left, I think the people who are supporting Uhuru in Nairobi, they supported Ruto based on his relationship with the Mount Kenya voting bloc in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So with the Ruto falling out with the Mount Kenya voting bloc, it meant that his support base in Nairobi was in jeopardy. So
Yeah.
when Raila joined him, and so it means that he inherited that Nairobi voting bloc, the side that was supporting Raila Odinga. And I
Mm.
think that is what he has been riding on anytime he has any project in Nairobi or he has anything in Nairobi that he's doing. And even if you look at that composition that visited State House yesterday, you'll realize that most of that audience were people who are supporting Raila from Nairobi.
Yeah.
And that's why you see even Sakaja is holding on to Raila so tightly because you know that that might be his political savior in 2027 because Raila's support base in Nairobi is huge, and
Mm-hmm.
and I think that is what Sakaja and Ruto are holding on to, because basically Ruto will not have any political base in Nairobi. But
Yeah.
in terms of politics, I think that is what has been going on. What we've been talking about here, that is politics of poverty,
Yeah.
where people are brought on board, they are shown some goodies, and they start saying, Ruto sasa akae milele na milele, hatujawahi ingia
Mm-hmm.
State House, sijui nini. Hata they even trying to compare between Uhuru and Ruto,
Mm-hmm.
who opened the doors of State House to the people from, mostly from Eastlands. Let me just say that, yeah,
Yeah.
because the majority of those people were people from Eastlands. Yeah? And let me just mention this. I'm a voter in Nairobi, and I've never voted anywhere else apart from Nairobi.
Yeah.
So, and what happens on the ground? Because my vote is from Dagoretti North, where is Dagoretti North is very complex in terms of the political Nairobi, because even ODM has been since the
Mm.
2020 constitution, where constituencies were increased from 8 to 17.
Yeah.
The North has always been on the opposition side, because ODM has been having the member of parliament from Dagoretti North 2013, 2017, even 2022.
Yeah.
And even the words, all the words in Dagoretti North, only one has been going to the other side. That is Kawangware, but the rest has been going with ODM since then. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So and that is where you have seen a lot of support is coming in from for President Ruto and also for Sakaja. So that's why I'm telling you he cleverly managed to inherit the Raila Odinga's voting support, political support in Nairobi. And whether he will manage to hold on to that until 2027, I think they don't have a choice because of that. Ruto knows how to play politics of poverty very cleverly,
Yeah.
because he knows that these people, most of them are living in dire situation, and once they see these goodies,
Mm-hmm.
they will get confused and just start singing Takumi Bila break and so on and so forth.
Okay, thank you so much. And I still want to engage you before I bring in Miguda, because you've talked of something that is very, very, very much valid when you talk about the politics of poverty. Because when now you want to solve the employment problem, because what we are facing is employment problem, and we have this issue that now we have, especially like now the president has started officially, like president has been very, very, very on setback, especially on the low key, especially when it comes to empowerment. We've seen the deputy president has been spearheading it across the country or in particular areas. But now we are talking about employment, and we are looking for long-term solution to employment, and you find that what is being given, especially for the young people, especially we are talking about border, we are talking about the saloon, all those that is being given, and these are targeting a particular areas, especially like we talk of East Lando. But there are some other areas also that they're not in East Lando, yet they have a population that also do not have do not are not employed. Yeah, how can you especially make sure that you break this cycle of poverty by offering a long lasting solution, but not sh- short term or handouts?
Thank you. I think I wish that would have been the case, but
Mm.
unfortunately, in this part of the world, that cannot be the case because people usually think that politicians are eager to solve their problems,
Mm.
but that is not the case because no politicians want to solve the problem that are affecting the people.
Yeah.
Because once they solve that problems, they will lose their political base because they thrive in controlling people who are entrenched in problems,
Mm.
unemployment, poverty, hunger.
Mhm.
They want to create that dependency
Mm.
that you always depend on them. Yeah. So if you come, maybe today you are employed maybe for the last 5 years. They give you something small
Mhm.
so that that dependency is perpetuated. But
Mhm.
in other parts of the world, I think that is not the case because leadership is solving problem, and that
Mhm.
is basically what leadership is all about. But
Okay.
our leadership here is the relation between the leaders and those who are led is that
Mhm.
they create a dependency where the people always depend on them so
Mhm.
that they continue controlling them. Because if someone controls you materially, there is no way you can survive without that person. So in your mind, you know that mheshimiwa akikuja atatufanyia ABCD, mheshimiwa akikuja atatufanyia ABCD, ama akituita atatufanyia ABCD. But
Mhm.
they are not really keen on real empowerment. This
Yeah.
empowerment is just on paper, where you come and you see motorbikes have been paraded there. I don't know the saloon
Listen,
tools there. Even I saw, I don't know if it was a Kisiagi or what,
uh,
or
uh,
this
Kisiagi was there.
catering tools. So, and you see that is it has happened. It has been happening. How impactful is that? Because we've seen that even in other constituencies,
Mhm.
where people they parade these things, and then people come out and say, that, okay, we are now being empowered, and so on and so forth. You know, the real empowerment is not that. It's not that, because if we want to empower people, you will look into policies You will look into education system. You will look into
Yeah.
absorption from school to industry to job
Mm.
market. You will look into policies that can ensure that the environment, business environment, is so conducive for entrepreneurs to venture into business. You will come up with tax measures that can encourage young people to join to join the entrepreneurship, because
Mm.
you cannot be dishing out bicycle motorbikes and so on and so forth, and you say you are empowering people, and at the same time tax measures that are there are not favorable to anybody. So I think the intention of this thing called empowerment is not really to empower people, but it's just playing politics with the poverty of the people, because the politicians have mastered the art of creating dependency between them and the voters, so
Yeah.
that the voters cannot be economically independent. Because once you become economically independent, a politician will not control you. A
Mm.
politician will not call you and give you rice and cabbage, and you start singing that they should rule forever because you are taking rice and cabbage and maybe a soda there. So it just shows you the mentality of the voter and the intention of the politicians. They are
Okay.
not there. They are not keen in solving the problem. And you mentioned about people coming from East lands being
Mm.
there's that mindset that if you come from East lands, then you are poor, and if
Mm.
you come from the other side of town, then you are not poor, and
You're
that is
not.
not, because, for example, Kibra is not in Eastlands. Kawangware, Kangemi, those other side of Dagoretti, those
Mhm.
sides are not in Eastland. And with Baku, Eastlands, we have estates that are doing very well, like Buruburu, Donholm,
Mhm.
and even even Umoja. The people who are doing very well, but that is just mentality. That if
Yeah.
I come from Eastlands, then I need help. I need to be given handouts by politicians, and the politicians will brag about it. Yeah, and even if you listen to Sakaja's speech yesterday, he
Yeah.
was bragging how they've brought people from Eastlands and given them access to Statehouse. And you will find that those people left there with nothing really to transform their lives.
Thank you so much, because I was looking at it in terms of breaking the poverty circle, because it is not the first time that we are seeing such like empowerment, especially coming from the president. He did it especially when he was the deputy president, and even during his campaign is something that he started. But because like if he did it uh, that long, right now we could have been assessing and giving some. There could be a data that is showing that actually it worked or it is working. But um, as you said, it to me, it is not a long term. You know, it's not a long term. And also, if you look at the amount of money that was pumped, especially on on the materials, on the products that it's going to be given to you. Take for example, we have I saw the chairs that were brought. Basically, I tend to think that they will be used in the salons, or because I saw um, the catering the catering apparatus. I saw them there. I saw pictures of them. But remember, right now the catering is in the competition. A lot of people who are offering catering, especially those who are offering quite seriously, you cannot compete them, especially with um, those kind of material that were brought there. You know, and the people who have ventured into catering, majority of them are they do their work very well. Remember, catering does not only come with that. The things to do with tents, things to do with PA, there are things to do with so many things that comes with it, that package. But do you think that when you want to package and you want to compete in a market whereby now people are competing, do you think like they can compete? Especially, that is one. Then again, look at majority of the young men majority of them, you from the look of things, you can tell their life, the way of life, their life that they live. You know, and it tells you how sure are you that when these products reach their hands, they will keep them and have Kwa Kiswahili tunasema subira, kwa sababu huwezi kuja nayo leo, because like from the look of things, majority of them, they've never ventured in that business. This could be their first time venturing in that business, you know. And you know, there are people who have taken long in those businesses, and will they be having that patient like other people who started before them? Because like even when you come to boda, you know, people have created clientele with the bodas. Nobody can just carry you. They have to make a phone call, say niaje kuja unipick. So you will find yourself that you are there, a very new person, but what happens, nobody calls you. Labda msamaria muime mwingine akikuja apande motorbike yako. But like if you build that clientele, the people who have built that clientele whereby they don't even have to wait. They know their schedule with their clients. So that is there. Miguda, let me engage you, because like you remember in June when the Gen Z were really protesting, one of the places that the Gen Z wanted to visit was the Statehouse. And today they visited the Statehouse and they flocked in the Statehouse, and they were invited by President President Ruto. And at some point, President Ruto said something that kuna wale walikuwa wanasema State House ni ya watu wadosi. Mimi State House ni ya kuinua, ni ya hata mpaka watu wa chini. And if you listen to those statements, it brings you back to 2022, whereby he was talking about the dynasty and the hustler. It's just that another narrative of that. So what do you make of this, Mr. Meguda?
First, I want to say that finally, to him, the Gen Zs have accessed State House, but they have not kicked him out. You know, the intention was to access and kick him out. So either way, it hasn't happened. And I just want to say, I just want to ride on your point of the clientele, whereby you have made somebody client. You know, it's very true. Like if you're on the ground, if you provide services to the person, if you provide the best services, people usually tend to maintain you. Like me, I have my people who can carry me in each and every town. So even if you initiate a new person, it's very easy for me to create that rapport with the new person. That is very true. And I can just say, we do not know the ratio whereby they came to that number, that these are the Gen Z and these are the people who wanted to storm the State House. We don't know how they came to that ratio. I just want to say one thing, then I'll come back later sometime. Raila Odinga having gotten fanatic support in Nairobi.
Yeah.
And now you realize that Raila used to get it freely without any service provider. People used to follow him blindly. But now Ruto is trying to inherit in a clever way whereby he want to give them handouts. That's why they were saying Ruto Milele, because they are not used to such things. They're not used to food. They're not used to handout. They're not used to things like going to State House. Now, if they can be exposed to that extent that they can get food, they can get money, now they can sing Ruto Milele, because they used to follow Raila without those goodies. Now, with the coming of Ruto and Sakaji, the goodies, they can say it. But remember that not all of them are having voters card. So it's a constituency whereby they are using them, they are good in demonstration, and also some are also good in other things. But I just believe that it's a clever way of inheriting a constituency with a different tactic whereby you provide goodies to them, unlike what their leader used to do for them.
Hello, Meguda, are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, Mr. Barak, I want to engage you on something that we've always said in our politics, and it has always taken different turns, but it's still the same thing. We talk about the politics of tokenism, especially whereby you are given a small token to change the way you think or to change the way you look at things, make you not to question some of the things that can bring lasting solution. Especially look at the amount that was invested, that the president invested in the empowerment, and look at even the amount, apart from what the president invested today in terms of billions, because there were billions, and what the deputy president has been. But if you look at it very keenly, how would you say, you might correct me if I'm wrong, ever since the president came into power, and you look at in terms of the coming up with, we can call it that innovative economics, or I can call it innovative economics, whereby you can create this, what we call hubs, such that having policies that can make use to keep on having jobs. In other words, create a good environment whereby we can have investors who will be coming in, and when the investors come in, they come in with their companies, and the youth will be employed, and that will be a long term, and it will not be a tokenism, because like you will be working and you're being given salary, yeah. But what you find we are doing, especially in terms of empowerment, it is not something that is going to last, yeah. And as you mentioned earlier, that this is the politics of poverty, just to make sure that taking advantage of your social status, then make you feel like now we are going to change your life. And if you look at even people who are around you who have gone through the same, none of them actually, their life has really changed, So how can we, as voters, because I don't want to talk about leaders, because like leaders have known the weaknesses of the voters, how can the voters themselves come into their senses and say that, okay, let us question, or let us look at things that are going to give us long-term solution, but not tokenism, because we have to look at tokenism versus the long term. How?
Well, there's this preacher in Tanzania. I don't know. I'm missing his name. Who is very famous here in Kenya. Juzi kuna siku alisema ya kwamba Biblia inasema ya kwamba Yesu alikuja kutafuta waliopotea. Na akauliza, na wale ambao wamepotea, je, wanajua kwamba umepotea? Kwa sababu kama hujui kama umepotea, pia utaungana na wale ambao wanatafuta ambao wamepotea, pia uanze kutafuta waliopotea. Na wewe mwenyewe ndio unayetafutwa. I think that is what can describe our voter behavior. Because do we really understand that we need to transform our minds as voters? Yeah. Because the voter behavior is the biggest problem. That is what politicians have been exploiting to advance their own political interest. The question is, does the Kenyan voter understand that they need to change their behavior so that they can even hold the leaders to account? Yeah. Because you'll find that now let's leave the presidency out and focus on the politicians down there on the grassroots. Once we elections come near, maybe 2026, towards the end of 2026, those who are in power right now, maybe the MCA, a member of National Assembly, and mostly even a governor, they will come and start telling you, give me another term so that I can finish the project that I started. Yeah. And and people will be convinced, hey, and you he'll be coming and he'll be giving out maybe two packets of maize flour, 1 liter of maybe cooking oil, and women will be start singing their names, and they will be given even lessons with his picture, on them, and border guys will be given reflectors with his name, and those who are selling in the markets will be given umbrellas. And people will say, hey, Mheshimiwa amefanya kazi sana. Let us give him another term, so that he can continue working for us. Yeah. And if you ask this person, apart from what he has given you, this umbrella or this reflector, what else has he done? Yeah. has he sorted out the issues that are affecting the people, the masses here in this constituency? Yeah. What has he done to improve the education system? What has he done maybe to improve schools, or even those the bridges that you sometimes you see children crossing very dangerous bridges going to school very early in the morning, and you wonder, do they have leaders who are drawing salary from the exchequer, who are supposed to ensure that they solve these problems? Yeah, and so that is the problem that we have, and the politicians have mastered it's hard. That's why you will see a lot of activities towards election, and people giving out handouts and even dishing out goodies left, right, and center. And they've mastered to capture the border guys, because that's a very vulnerable group. And women groups are that's now a traditional base of politicians. From Nyayo era even to now, you'll see women are being organized in groups, and they are
Groups.
given pesos and few coins to divide among themselves, and they'll be singing because they believe that women can influence their husbands and their children and their families to vote for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So once you capture the women, and now you capture the border guys, they believe that now you at least one of your legs has already in parliament, and you'll see them when they are coming. They've influenced about 50 border riders with coming up with a lot of noise and shouts and everything to ensure that in that locality, it is only that Mheshimiwa that his name is being talked about. And now, if you look at now at the national level, you'll see that the current president is trying to devolve that kind of activities, and that's why you see he has different teams who are working to ensure that at least in every region where he can manage to secure some votes, he has leaders who are organizing that, and that's why you see Kindiki is traveling all from various parts of the countries, and he has his team, another team also there with the speaker of the National Assembly, traversing, and they are doing the other, and very soon you will see even we also have teams with that CSS, because we've seen CSS Mbadi in
Yes.
and I, and also trying to do the same. So you find that he's going to ensure that this team expands and becomes like a movement where people come and don't go. Once they do that, they're trying to lock out the opposition, because they know when the opposition come, they don't come with anything. So they are trying to play mind game with the people, so that when the opposition come, they will be expected to give something. And once they don't give something, what was Ruto na at least anatufikishia kitu.
Anatupatia.
Wengine wanakuja tu na mdomo na hakuna kitu wanafanya. So because of that the mindset that if you're given something, then huyo mtu hakujali. But they are not looking into policies, they're not looking into service delivery, they're not looking into the whole development agenda. And let me just mention this, that when Ruto came into power, he came up with better what he called bottom-up economic transformation agenda. And if you look at better, the main pillar of better was Hustler Fund, that was meant to ensure that it uplifts the life of people. From the word Hustler Fund, it was meant to live the lives of hustlers, so that they can be lifted from down at least to up. And now, for the 3 years that Hustler Fund has been in operation, even right now, that name is disappearing because of the ineffectiveness of Hustler Fund and how it did not meet the expectations of the hustlers themselves, and even how the people beneficiaries defaulted, and right now they want to scrap it off completely because it was not effective. So what they are doing now is like now a replacement of Hustler Fund. So you find that even this beta itself, nobody really, even from the government, understands how it's supposed to work. It is just trial and error and gambling and so on and so forth.
But thank you so much. But now, before I bring in Muguda, because we are going back. When you look at what is now happening, President is going back, and his allies is going back to the script of 2022. But the message seems to be the same. The only thing is that now he's not going to mention Asla or Asla Nation. He's not going to mention that. But the tact that he used, inviting the border, because yesterday, the day before yesterday, we saw there was a border invite at the State House, and whereby he said that the price of the motorbike are going to reduce significantly by around 50%, which means if you're paying 169, or you will be paying something like around 180 something, around 200,000 Kenya shillings, you'll be paying 95. And I still saw he had the motorbike for the empowerment. What was stopping him from giving them to the borders, the motorbike riders who came to the State House, so that they can give to their members?
I also saw some motorbikes paraded at State House. I'm not sure if they were given out or not.
Yeah.
Because from my understanding, it was just part of the goods that were supposed to be dished out to those who attended the State House function. But whether they were giving out or not, or whether they'll be given out later, I'm not sure. But now the point here is, the person who ensured that many Kenyans owned a motorbike was the President Kibaki, because he zero-rated tax on motorbike.
Yeah.
And during his regime, especially towards the tail end of his regime, is when many young people ventured into border business, and it became an industry that is now a force to reckon with. And when Ruto came in, Uhuru regime, they reintroduced tax to border, and the price hiked. But because it was now an industry, people struggle a way to get border here and there. And I think border has been an alternative for number one, who are the majority of people who are riding border. Initially, it was associated with people who have not completed their education, people who are not, and you can even see the discipline in that industry. It shows you the majority of people who are riding border. But because of high level of employment, you find that even right now, graduates are riding border. But they are riding border not because they don't have any other things to do. But you find that even though graduates are riding border, they are applying for jobs all over the place, hoping that they will get, maybe they'll be called for an interview and successfully get an employment. But now we have a group of people who are riding border, and that is the only thing they can do. And those are the dominant character in border. And that is why the idea of creating employment through border that when Kibaki zero-rated tax on border, he had an idea of creating an industry for people who did not manage to complete their higher education. Yeah, so it should. I think that encouraging that sector to thrive, because so that it can now absorb graduate, I think it's not a good idea, because the government should come up with policies to ensure that people who are being channeled out of the high tertiary education, tertiary institutions, are absorbed in a good environment where they can make a decent living.
Okay, thank you. And Miguda, I want you to give us your view, because when you look at this empowerment that is going around the country, people would say that, okay, it is creating more significance and actually is changing life, because I've never I will try this time around to have somebody who has maybe has accessed this empowerment programs, and maybe have received some cash, and to have a conversation with them and let us know how it is working for them and how it has changed their life, or if they're seeing any progress. And there's this question that everybody is asking, especially, okay, there are those who are saying, okay, this is a very innovative, and this is something that is uplifting the life of the people. But now, Barak, how can we differentiate it between the progress and the PR? Where do we put it? Marco, Migoda, sorry.
The empowerment program,
Yes.
they want to make it look like it is an economic model whereby they
Yeah.
want to implement the bottom-up economic model. By
Yeah.
doing so, getting a group of people, that is the group of people who are, majority of them, they are poor, and if they are
Yeah.
poor, now they are being targeted so that they can be uplifted to
Mm.
where people are. One of the
Right.
reasons they are trying to do is that they are unemployed, and they can be given some posho meal, motorbikes, car wash machines, and even money. That's why they are doing this Inua wa Mama, Inua Jamii. To me, it's just the same thing, but with a different approach, whereby it has been happening in the country from time immemorial, whereby people are being told that Inua Jamii, Inua wa Mama, Inua Vijana. Now they are trying to bring it like empowerment program, whereby they are trying to empower women, empower young people, but they're targeting a certain group, the poor people. And why you haven't come across anybody who have been empowered, just like me, I haven't come anybody who have been empowered either through motorbike, posho meal, car wash machine, or
Mm.
money. And when I'll get one, I'll actually bring him here so that you can interview him. This thing is just like they are trying to make it look like we are implementing our economic model because we were the bottom up people. We say that
Yeah.
we will target the poor and bring them to the scale. Right, that's what they're doing. That to me what they want to come to people. And also this thing of empowering people, and you are taking this a significant population. How sure are you, for instance, if you go to Kiaru constituency, and twice in you have said twice in the whole year that I've empowered women at Kiaru. What about the other people? Can you do it universally? That has been my plea. Why can't we do it universally, or we do it whereby it cut across the country? Like my view, if you can say, okay, we have introduced free education from kindergarten to tertiary, that one cut across,
Yeah.
affect everybody, because everybody will go to school freely.
Yeah.
If you say, okay, those people cannot pay SHA, we are going to pay for you, it's gonna cut across. But here is a case whereby they are saying, if you can't pay SHA, we are going to pay for you. But if you go to register, they tell you, okay, you at least can pay 150. That 150 is money. Then let's say, okay, you cannot pay, Gava will pay for you. But here is a case whereby Gava can't pay for you. So to me, if they could bring things like SHA is going to people can't pay SHA, it's going to be a universal health
Yeah.
coverage whereby it covers you universally. Education should be free. And
Yeah.
also, there are many things. But this issue whereby you are targeting a certain people, like I told you, if I'm not a supporter of Governor Sakaja, so I can't get access to Statehouse because I don't support Sakaja, I'm supporting Babu Owino. So you see such things. So how are you going to, because I'm a Gen Z, I'm entitled to go to Statehouse, I'm entitled to those money, to those goodies, but why can't I accept them? Because of my position, maybe, or because I cannot access that environment. So you understand, this thing, unless it is done universally, that is when we can agree that they are actually implementing the economic model of bottom up. Because the issue of education and the issue of health, those are primary issues and very fundamental to human beings. If they can invest in health and education, to me, it's just we are good to go. Other than investing on Inua Jamii, Inua Wamama, Inua Vijana. Wale vijana waliinuliwa wakati wa Moi, saizi ni wazee. Wale vijana waliinuliwa wakati wa Kibaki, saizi ni wazee. Sasa it means even me, when my time passes as a youth, they will inua my children. You see, so these things should not be tolerated. In my view, we should have an alternative whereby we say, okay, as for we as the people, we have a
Yeah.
discussion whereby we want it to be universally, we want to be spread. And lastly, the issue of motorbikes. Now we are going to deposit 10Ks and we are paying loan, and if you want cash, we are going to pay 95Ks. The question we have hacks the producer. As the producer change, because if the producer used to produce this motorbike and we used to import them on a big whereby we pay 195Ks and we pay 60Ks for loan. So does it mean that now they have changed the import whereby they are importing it from a certain country, because we understand that we are not producing it here locally? Most of it we import. So if that is the case, they have changed the producer. Or what about the taxation issues and other things? And who told them that all of us must ride motorbike? Who told them that all of us must just stick to that mama mboga biashara? Maybe me, I want to open my shop. I want to open a supermarket. So 2022, mimi ni mama mboga. 2027, mimi ni mama mboga. So me, I was just brought in this world to be mama mboga for eternity. Can I make any progress? Or I was brought to this world to be mtu wa bodaboda. Even mtu wa bodaboda natamani tu wakati ikifika ninunue hata tuk-tuk. So how are we going to get a tuk-tuk? Let them even give us tuk-tuks, let them give us buses, let them give us even Nissans. Because like me, I want a tuk-tuk, I don't want a motorbike. So how are you going to know that this person is interested in motorbike? And of course, you have people, the people who gather there. So I'm going to say, okay, these people, these certain people, you want portion mill, you want car wash machine. Me, maybe I don't want car wash machine. I want a portion mill so that I can employ some people to work at home. But you are giving me a portion mill. So unless this thing is done universally, and unless it's done in an equality manner, whereby there is no exclusion, people should be included. That's why I was talking about inclusion and equality, non-discrimination, and also it should be something that at least it can be spread across the country for the entire population of the country, not specific people.
Okay, thank you so much. And that is where now I want to engage my conversation with you, Barak, because I was listening to the president, and in his speech, he mentioned something about we will not be scared about the one term. We will not be intimidated. We will, the one term part of it was coming up. And this is an empowerment. And when you are empowering your country, at least you should empower everybody. And that's why even our panelist Miguda was talking about, like, it should be universal, whereby if you bring a policy and this policy is going to be very effective, we know that we will not need maybe other Gen Z from Homa Bay to come to Statehouse also to get empowerment. We will not need other Gen Z from Machakos to come to Statehouse to get empowerment, but come up with a policy that will make it possible, especially with the relevant offices, to make sure that the youths actually across the country will access the empowerment. Because if you say that you're empowering Nairobi, at what point do you know that now Nairobi chapter is done, that everybody in Nairobi is now empowered? If you only pick a section of people, a section of them, but not coming up with the policy, Barak.
Well, if you want to empower a society or a community, you will not behave like a parent to their children. If you are the father and you are in your house, you will just go to the supermarket and maybe decide, niliona ule kijana wangu ni kama suruali yake imechapa kidogo, acha nimnunulie ingine. And you just decide and you buy and you take. You will not do that in leadership.
Yeah.
Especially in Kenya, where we have a very vibrant constitution that requires what we call public participation.
Yeah.
At what point did you realize that the people who come from a specific locality, they require motorbikes? Was there any engagement between you and them to ensure that you understand their needs and you don't just behave as if you know it all and you go and grab some few motorbikes and you bring to them? Maybe that is not their need, because people, any policy that can transform people's lives must be people oriented. It must come out from them. There must be some ownership. Yeah. We are owning solution for our problems. Yeah. Because why are we owning this solution? Because we are part of of coming up with this solution. But politicians behave as if they are running their own families, where they just go out there and they think, oh, this is good for these people. They grab the few things and they come with them and they tell, okay, we've brought for you some few borders here, some few catering tools, some few salon. They make this decision purely based on their own imagination, and they imagine that the people who are going to receive them are going to like them and they are going to utilize them. So it means that these are not policies oriented. These are just out of imagination, purely for political expediency, and that is why we have never had any impactful empowerment program, and we are not going to have any time soon, because the intention, the choreography of these empowerment programs are meant to advance political interest, and that is why you see two-term slogan is associated with empowerment program. Anybody who's attending those sessions, anybody who's attending this program, they are going there and they are saying two-term, Ruto, two-term, because it is meant to advance that political ideology. Yeah. So it has nothing to do with empowering the people who are going there. It's just meant to send a political message to the other side who are saying one term. They're saying hata kama nyinyi mnasema one term huko, you have nothing to give the people. Hapa sisi tunasema two term tukipeana hii. Mtu anakuja anasema two term tunapeana hii. And that is why you see even people who are not putting on very, very decently. Right now wamenunua masuti, wanaenda pale wanapiga ndio wanasema, hey, you can see two term is paying. Yeah. And so it's like for you to say two term, unapewa kitu kadogo, then Raila kwa anasema unatupia kuku mahindi kidogo, alafu unasema kuku inakuja unakata shingo mara moja. So these things are being called empowerment. They are not empowerment. They are just political theatrics to advance the two-term agenda, and you will see that happening and being advanced so clearly as we continue, as we move into 2026 and 2027 election.
Okay, thank you so much. And maybe before Miguda comes in, you know, when all this empowerment was taking place, or the president was having the youths in the house, actually I saw members of parliament. I saw the Roroka member of parliament, and I think the women rep also was there, if I'm not wrong. And they're the people that have been given the mandate to come up with the legislation that can especially create good environment for business to thrive, because there you talked about the zero rated, especially when it comes to products like the motorbike that Kibaki used, or let's say that we could put the tax bracket on some of the products, like let's say like motorbike. How can we give them the tax break, you know? But now they're the people who should be in charge of legislation and even come up with ideas on how can we make sure even that our youths get employment, by the same people who are even saying that the president has done one of the wonderful or one of the good idea that no any other person has done. But they're the lawmakers, remember.
Yeah, and the members of parliament who are there, even the women rep was there, and also I saw the member of parliament for Dagoretti South, that is GKJ.
Yes,
and,
yes.
And remember, I don't know if you can remember during the so-called public participation to impeach Gachagua, that happened at Bomas of Kenya, when TJ was the MC, and Kebosa tried to come there and he was beaten thoroughly.
And
TJ was celebrating and saying, "This is why I love Nairobi." You see,
utamu wa Nairobi, utamu
wa siasa ya Nairobi. So he was celebrating as someone is being assaulted there by the party. I don't know, those were participants of that. And so that tells you that these are goons for hire. This politician in Nairobi. They are hired to advance as an agenda, and once you hire them, they are very loyal. By the way, they are very loyal. Because in Nairobi, the only legislature from ODM who has been on his own is Babu Owino. But you look at Langata, Jalango is with Ruto, TJ. These are people who are advancing Raila's idea. And once Raila amesema this, they will not question. And they will even beat people just to prove to Raila that we are loyal to you.
We are loyal, yes.
Yeah, so that is the tragedy of Nairobi. And you know, Tim Wanyonyi has already left Nairobi. Sasa
Yeah.
hapo Bungoma amejipanga huko. So Nairobi, that's why you see TJ Kajwang cannot miss such event. Even when Ruto is traversing Nairobi, TJ cannot miss there, because he's a very active and he's a beneficiary of these politics that are happening in Nairobi. That's why he's normally at the front at the front line when these things are happening. Kwa sababu hata pia yeye mwenyewe anajua, he knows what he's gaining from that. And yeah, so they cannot come up with any legislation to support anybody, because that is not their work. That is not what they are aiming to do. Neither that is their intention. Their intention is to serve their political masters. Unless they are told, fanya hivi, that's what they will do. But wao wanaambiwa tu mobilize goons later, wana mobilize later. After that event imeisha, you will hear people are being roughed up after those guys are going back, because these are people who have been hired and they are good. They are known even in where they are coming from. You will hear some guys have been taken from Lakisama, from Dandora, from Kariobangi, Komongo, wamepelekwa Statehouse. Wakirudi, wakipatana na wewe, bahati yako mbaya, hiyo siku utainuliwa juu, mifuko yote iangalie chini. And that is how they thrive in Nairobi politics, yeah.
And sasa wacha tu hata hiyo swali sasa niulize ndugu yangu Miguda, kama tunajua watu ambao tunawachukua na kuwapeleka kwa makazi, ama tuseme kwamba msanyiko kama yale yaliyotokea ile ya tuseme kwamba ya maendeleo ama kupatiana mavijana vitu ambazo zinaweza hawasaidia katika ajira, lakini unapata mtu ambaye umempatia, unapata kwa mara mingi wakipata jambo kidogo ama wakapata jambo kidogo ambao wako katika mikononi mwao, unapata saa zingine inaweza uzwa hata kwa thamani ya chini sana. Hiyo unakuja aje unakuwa unasema kwamba umesaidia huyu kijana? Mr. Miguda.
Asante sana, swali nzuri sana. Unajua mimi bado ni mtu mdogo sana, lakini pia mimi niko na nafasi nzuri hata kufanya hizo kazi, lakini ni vile sifanyi. Lakini marafiki zangu wengi wanafanya vile. Rafiki yangu Baraka amesema ni watu wanajulikana. Ni ukweli, ni wanajulikana, hata mimi najua wengi wao sana. Na kila mtaa nikienda, hata mtaa wa Suna East pale kwa Junet Mohamed, karibu hao marafiki zangu wote wanafanya hiyo kazi. Au unapata watu wa bodaboda, watu wa car wash wanaosha magari hapo. Hiyo ndio kazi wanafanya. Hata wakati natembea usiku, nashuka tu mtu amekushika tu, ni aje, ukimtazama ni yeye, asema brother, siku hizo usalimi watu, kwani mambo ni aje rada, lakini tu wale watu unawajua tu. Sasa hao watu kuna vitu wanatumia wakati wa siasa, lakini wanatumia vibaya.
Hebu angalia sauti yako. Barak, ndugu yangu ni kama ako na shida kidogo na kipasa sauti. Miguda, umerudi?
Unanipata? Nilikuwa nimepotea kiasi na nimerudi. Nilikuwa nasema unapata kwamba makao zao si pazuri, wanaishi kwa ghetto, na kazi nzuri wanafanya niyo kazi ya bodaboda. Mimi watu wengi wanafanya hiyo kazi ya boda, lakini sasa wakati wananibeba najaribu kuwauliza maswali ya kwamba kwa mfano nauliza kati ya rais na hiyo position ni aje. Wakasema hapo rais akanyaga Nairobi hivi, karibia rais tutakuvunja mguu au tutakuvunja shingo. So unajua mimi niko napatanga ujumbe, napatanga tu hizo habari kabla hizo vitu zifanyike. Juu ni watu marafiki zangu. Sasa swali ni wao wanapatiwa 1,000 kwa siku wafanye hizo kazi, na wanapatiwanga lunch. Na kuna wakati pengine mambo inakuwa vibaya, wanapatiwa 300.
Okay. Miguda ni kama ako na shida kidogo kiasi. Najua ni atarudi sana. Asante sana kwa wale ambao
unapata
Miguda. Okay, sawa. Miguda, hebu tengeneza alafu urudi. Barak, unajua sasa tukiangalia katika mlingo wa siasa tunaona kwamba upinzani wako na mlima ya kupanda, kwa sababu hapa mashindano ipo naona kama mashindano haitakuwa sera kabisa kabisa, haitakuwa mashindano kwamba watu watakuwa wanashindana kwa hoja, watu watakuwa wanashindana kwa kimabavu ya pesa.
Wameajiriwa.
Okay. Miguda, umerudi? Haya, asante sana Miguda. Wacha nilete ndugu yangu Barak. Unajua wapinzani wako na kibarua kigumu kwa sababu hapa wanaenda katika kinyang'anyiro cha urais, kwa sababu wanaona labda serikali ambayo iliko katika mamlakani kwa saizi haifanyi vyema. Unaona venye rais mwenyewe amejipanga, umeona maendeleo ama tuseme kwamba empowerment that is going through the country, because like he has divided these groups and each and every weekend they are doing something, you know. As they do that, you find that the opposition, when they want to have their meetings, they will have problem with the law enforcement. Unapata saa zingine waambii waende. How will opposition encounter this and make the voters believe that they are the people who have the best solution with the political terrain that we are experiencing, what we are trying to experience right now?
Well, it's going to be a tall order to the opposition, because I think your opposition believes that people hate Ruto and they will just vote him out, and that is what they are riding on. Because if you look at the organization of the opposition, it seems that even since Gachagua left to the US, we've not really seen much from the opposition. Only few legislatures allied to Gachagua trying to do Saturday after Sunday, they are tear gassed. That's it. After Sunday, they try to access the people, they are tear gassed, and that's it. But if you look at now from the other side, even the Kalonzo is just holding press conferences. We're not seeing him coming out clearly saying what his plans are for the country, and it's just there's nothing tangible that you can really associate with the opposition at things stand right now. Maybe they are waiting for Gachagua to return from the US, and maybe that's when now they will start again having some meaningful engagement with the people. But even Gachagua, if you listen to him, there's nothing else he's talking about apart from just his hatred to Ruto, and he's behaving like an ex who has refused to move on, and just exposing their dirty linen in public without really giving any meaningful alternative to leadership. Because if you want to be taken seriously by people who are serious, you must offer an alternative, because you are saying this is not working, and if we do this can work, and if you give me an opportunity, I can offer alternative leadership to this that is not working. And that is what is lacking from them. And you can see Ruto is capitalizing on that and is trying to cement himself with whatever with the resources that he has, trying to sway the people's mind and to change the perception that he's doing something for the people. And politics is much about perception. What perception do people have there? And people, and that's why you see people have been talking about compensating the victims of police brutality. Now, yesterday, I think the other day he came up with this and saying that he wants people to be compensated. Dating back to around even before, when I think in 2010 or something, 2017, I'm not sure. And given Professor Makau Mutua to lead that, and you heard yesterday Kalonzo saying no, you cannot do that because we don't trust you, and so and so forth. And remember, the question that Kalonzo were asking yesterday, we were talking about them the other day about the allocation of the budgetary allocation to compensate these people, and of the legal framework they are going to use to ensure that they do it according to the law, because that is very important. You cannot do that if you don't have a legal backing, because someone will go to court and that thing will be declared null and void. So because the opposition knows that if he does that and successfully compensate these victims, they will have nothing else to talk about come 2027. Yeah. So it is. Pardon?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So Ruto is playing very smart. He's playing very smart. He's very tactical, because anything that this guy, the other side are raising, he's trying very much to to ensure that he sorts that out before 2027, so that by 2027 they will have nothing to point out, only to talk about what they can do, and that is not what they've been able to do up to now.
And something that I also feel like when you look at the when that announcement came, it was very, very well orchestrated, and they knew where to do it. And for the longest time in the history, the complaints has always been that especially the people from the lake have always been the people who have faced it most. And remember, this news came especially when they were in the lake region. So which means one of the purposes that it was playing, one, it was used to cement the relationship between the Right Honorable Prime Minister and the President William Ruto. One, to send a message that things are working in terms of now compensation is coming. Another thing also, to make especially the best of ODM to know that it is working, because like we know for quite some time, Makao Mutua has been one of the think tank of the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga in his political, the people who have been the inner circle of him, and the person who has been given to lead that is also his person. So it also makes the population to know that Baba is the one running this government. So when it comes to support, it will be very, very, very hard to question that, no, you should not do that. And talking about the legal framework, maybe Migude can assist us to do that, because like you remember, when South Africa were going through this, they had to come up with a legal framework on how it is going to be done. So as you said earlier, the president might do it deliberately, that they don't bring in legal framework. And the people who are going to oppose this are the opposition. They might send their people to the courts to say that they've not followed the legal framework. And that one will be a campaign tool, especially to weaken them. Miguda, what do you think?
Before I delve into your question, first I want to say that if we empower people now, and we manage to get our second term as the government in that case, it means that from 2027 going forward, there is no accountability, because already I'm done with you. You just wait for me. And they will tell you, don't make noise. There's a framework in the constitution that our elections are done periodically after 5 years. Wait until 2032 if you want to be the president. Now you see those things we are trying to avoid. And that's why I'm telling you that the current president should not be underrated when it comes to politics and also cunning issue. He's a cunning person, and he's doing it perfectly. And now he's very strategic, because he got the resources and he got Raila Odinga by his side firmly. That's why he's very tactical when he's making some moves. And also, he has successfully managed to put the opposition into his agenda, because he's telling them, what is your alternative? Now, even if you say Ruto must go, now people will ask, no, Ruto must go. Now, what do you want about SHA, about education? What do you want? So, he has successfully managed them to, in the Sifuna's word, to bully them. That's why I was seeing Kenya Moja or another position with a different outfit can manage William Ruto. But this kind of opposition, in the absence of Gachagua, cannot. Even if you will go ahead and tell Gachagua, you are too much, you are just abusing me, you are too ill about me. What is it that you want to offer? He has succeeded in that conversation, whereby he has managed them that, okay, for you to go to Kenyans, you must tell Kenyans alternatively. Don't just go, Ruto must go. Don't go and say 2 term or 1 term. You must go to and engage the like my case. I'm talking about SHA. I'm talking about affordable housing. What is it that you have other than affordable? So there, I can give him a thumbs up, whereby politically he's trying to maneuver as a politician.
Yeah.
And even in that, the question you have asked me, the issue of legality or constitutionalism, is having people like Makao Mutua by his side. Now, he can say that in case of any error in the constitutionalism or in the public participation when people can move to court. He will
Yeah.
say, no, it's not my duty. Me, I hire officers to work for me. People like Matukau Mutua are from Raila's side. So this error might originate from Raila, not me. No, Ruto is someone who usually is afraid of accountability, and he is using people. He wants always to remain like someone who is not accountable, but he's the president. Like he was saying, mimi na baba. Now you want to put those blames to baba. Mimi na Kindiki. Kindiki will help me, unlike Gashagwa. Now, if anything goes wrong within empowerment program, that is Kindiki's office and the allies. So to me, when it comes to the issue of whether there was public participation, whether there was legality, whether there was constitutionalism, he has people to blame. He has people to blame that, okay, even if it was not passed, I gave your people role. It was your people who were doing it. Now, if it's your people who were doing it, how did we end up in the court whereby now the only mistake we did was maybe public participation? Because most of these things, when they end up in court, the underlying issue is always public participation. That has been the strength of anybody who has taken any government to court. The underlying issue about this legislation may be these acts of parliament, these statutes, or this. If you go with that issue of public participation, it's a strength to your case that indeed there was no public participation. So they are usually being outruled on that basis. So to me, Mr. President, right now, his first interest is second term. Whether there is going to be a referendum, whether there's going to be any constitutional crisis, he doesn't care. Provided he gets a second term, he can discuss those things later. So if he can do anything possible to get a second term, including bringing goons to Statehouse in the name of Gen Z to empower, so be it. Because I've also learned many things in politics. Politics might not be the way we are seeing it. You know, what you might see as a small thing, like maybe bringing goons or those people in Statehouse, he can inherit the entire Islando constituency, because they say, okay, this man is a just man. This man can allow us to access Statehouse and we can even eat. No, that thing is very important in politics. Those small petty things you are seeing, maybe you have shook his hand the way almost shook his hand almost 1 hour. They say, okay, if almost 1 hour can shake the hand of the president, even me who is living in slums, I can access Ruto, unlike Uhuru Kenyatta. So let me give Ruto at least huyu mtu ambaye naweza msalimia kuliko mtu sizi msalimia. So in politics, actually, you can be disappointed. Those petty things, those things you are seeing, like maybe empowerment, postal mill, motorbike, car wash machines, monies, they can transform to be real votes when it comes to 2027. So comparatively, as opposition, they need to go back to the drawing board and re-strategize and hire some little advisors, genius, not only little but genius, like the ones William Ruto is having right now. Because look at William Ruto. Of course, to me, from my own observation, is making impact. Is making impact day by day. Is persuading people day by day. There's a consequence. Is persuading day by day as time goes by. There's a consequence who usually they believes in him. And the circumstance also believes that, okay, when it comes to politics, none can match William Ruto. So he has managed to, in the words of Sifuna, to bully the opposition and also make the opposition to engage him rather than try to spread the gospel of Ruto must go, one term. Now they have come back to engage him in his own issues. So that's a very clever move, in my own observation, that the opposition also should cover. So the issue of constitutionalism, legality, rule of law, to me, as a person who have been in the trenches for a quite short time, it is not applicable to the political class. They don't care, provided they get their second term.
Okay, I'm just reminded to say that those who are invited, they are all Kenyans. They're not goons. That's what somebody's telling me. Miguda, do you buy that?
Okay, let me pass. Okay, it was just a statement from my contribution. But not that I meant that they are goons in that perspective. I withdraw that statement, but
Yeah,
they are
yeah.
Kenyans. These are Kenyans.
The-
I was just trying to make my point look like there are certain people who have been picked in a community, and the so-called people, most of time, even the way they were hearing their views on their TikTok pages, they are like they represent a certain group, but not that they are goons. They are Kenyans in a polite way. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And Barak, talking about the young legislators, especially when you look at people like Sifuna, Babu Owino, who especially they've avoided any event that is being attended by the president or the president is presiding over within Nairobi. Nairobi, especially, president have had quite a number of projects to be inspected or projects to be initiated. We've never seen the Nairobi senator accompanying the president. We've also not seen Babu Owino. So they've been missing out of president entourage. And coming again to Sifuna again, the two of them, because like based on what Raila say that they've sacrificed a lot for to put the country where it is, that the one term should not be something that people should be talking about. They give at a time and judges. And Sifuna also promised that if that is the case, that if the ODM is going to support President William Ruto, then he's going to resign. Do you see that one actualizing in Sifuna, or Sifuna is just holding in brief to hold those members of ODM who have different view?
Thank you. Let me say something on a light note. You know, there is no citizenship that called Gunyo Kenyans is that's being a citizen. So being a Kenyan, you can be a thief, you can be a goon, you can be whatever, but that does not mean you are not a Kenyan. So let us not let us not mix the two.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even we have murderers, terrorists, but they are all Kenyan.
Kama we ni terrorist utapelekwa pale kahawa
Yeah.
lockouts.
But hautanyang'anywa uraia kuwa Mkenya. Uraia wako unabaki pale pale tu.
Yeah, okay,
So
asante.
anyway, so I think if you look at I don't know, if you look at the support that ODM have in Nairobi, let me say Raila's support in Nairobi, they have most of that support has migrated to has embraced Ruto, not really migrated, but has embraced President Ruto. And you know, that is the support that Sifuna made Sifuna the senator of Nairobi. And you know, because you know, Nairobi is normally divided into two. The side that supports Raila Odinga and the support that does not support Raila Odinga.
Yes.
And I don't know if Sifuna is quoting the other side, because there's no other way in Nairobi. It's either you are with Raila or you are not with Raila. So sometimes if you're looking at the gubernatorial election, the reason why Sakaja won election is because Raila shortchanged, ODM shortchanged Tim Wanyonyi, because the Tim Wanyonyi had already prepared the ground. People were really embracing him as the next governor. But when ODM shortchanged him and decided to support Igathe, they said, okay, we are going to vote for Sakaja because we don't want to follow this choice, because number one, even ODM, we did not have a candidate for the governor in Nairobi. So that is how Sakaja managed. And you know, Sakaja also is 2022, he was very clever. He was playing victim that the government is trying to claim that he did not have a degree.
A degree.
He went to Uganda and came up with something called a degree. And you know, that when you play victim in Kenya, there's a way that people sympathize with you and they just vote for you. They don't even care about whether their degree is fake or not. They just say, oh, this guy is being victimized by the government, and he played smart and he won it's now people asking themselves, why did we vote for this guy? But that is now what under the bridge. Now, so if is Sifuna seeing himself as a candidate of those who are opposing Raila, and will they embrace him as their candidate and elect him? Because if you remember, Rigiji is on record saying that they will ensure that Gema gets Nairobi. And you remember when he was saying Gema. So it's like he was in his mind, he knows that DCP is going to have candidates in Nairobi. And he knows that those candidates will be coming from his backyard, or he's the one who will be choosing. Wewe utasimama hapa kama governor, utasimama kama senator. So by Sifuna going against the support that made him the governor, the senator, and I see people who are supporting Rigathi Gachagua are the one who are encouraging him to continue that in that line. Is he seeing himself being their candidate, and can they make him a senator? Or because those who voted for him are with Ruto right now, most of them, not all, but most of them, and most of them are embrace President Ruto, and most of them, you saw them even in Statehouse yesterday. Those are this voting bloc that ensure that Sifuna become the Senate of Nairobi. And a few of them are not comfortable with this relationship, the broad-based ideology, but most of them in Nairobi have already approved that based on their loyal support to Raila Odinga. Babu Owino has his own political base. That one I can assure you. And there are people who are loyal to him the way they are loyal to Baba. There are people who are loyal to him because he has managed to build his own political base that can even make him a member of parliament again, even though he will also need the support of the rest, but at least he has his own support base that are really with him. But now he's eyeing to be a governor of Nairobi. He will need more than that, yeah? Because Nairobi is very big, and traversing the 17 constituencies and getting a good vote from those constituencies for you to become a governor is not a walk in the park. So he will need even these people that are supporting Raila Odinga, because those are the votes that he can really bank on, yeah? So he has sidelined himself from that vote, because most of the time this day, I see him in court, in Kahawa court, trying to defend people who are, I don't know, arrested and charged with terrorism. So that is maybe his strategy of winning that political bloc. But will that be enough for him to become the governor? Because once you isolate yourself from your people that really you can trust that they will vote for you easily, and you want to go and start looking for a new voting bloc, I think to me that is that might not be a good political calculation, because we have a political bloc that ODM controls in Nairobi, and even if that bloc is split, they cannot manage to win without consolidating that bloc as a whole. And we've seen Sifuna. There's a day that Babu Owino was talking as if he's trying to declare his support for Kalonzo's candidature, and we also saw that yesterday when Sifuna was doing. And you wonder, because it's like they're holding on to the past, because even when in ODM matrix, Kalonzo is not appearing anywhere. It's either they are supporting Ruto or they are supporting one of their own. Yeah, they don't have an option of supporting Kalonzo Musyoka, because number one, Raila said that Kalonzo has not even asked for his support. So if they are coming up with a different narrative that we might support this guy, that's an individual declaration. And sometimes in ODM, those declarations are taken very seriously, because when times come for the party now to make a decision, you will be seen as someone who was trying to sabotage the plans or the strategy of the party. Because the ODM, if you look at politically, ODM is gaining more from their relationship with UDA as a party, and also in terms of trying to channel resources for infrastructure where it is perceived that traditionally they've been marginalized. So you cannot take away that from Ruto, because he has really done very well for that. And you can imagine handing over the treasury to a member of ODM, and something that has never happened in the history of the country for over 60 years. That is something that you cannot take away from him. So those are the things that the party will sit down and consider when they are making their move public comes 2027, because they will take stock, we've been engaging with this guy for about 3.5 years. What has he done for us as a party? Yeah, and maybe what has he done for the people that come from? What has he done for the regions where this party is dominant? Yeah, so these are things that politically they add value, because politics is about authoritative allocations of resources. So if this guy managed to allocate resources to these regions where the party is dominating and has been traditionally marginalized by the previous regimes, I think you will not take away that from him. And that's why I'm saying, if these guys, if Babowino and Sifuna are isolating themselves from what the party believes is the right thing, and that most of the members who are supporting this party are seeing that this is the right direction for us to take, I think it's going to be a tall order for them come 2027 to convince the same people, the same bloc that is now they are deviating from, to vote for them again. And because I think once you leave a vacuum, other people will come and they will exploit that vacuum, and they will capitalize on that, and maybe they will even force you out. And once you are out, from those people that now are telling you continue injecting, will they be able to embrace you and give even a ticket as a politician and vie maybe in their party? So those are the things that politicians need to act, because politics in Kenya is about interest, and once your interest is not cannot be secure in a certain political party, you must just stick with where your interest can be taken care of.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Barak, for your contribution. And let me come to Miguda. We're just about to wind up. Miguda, when you see these young legislators, even Sifuna going after Tuoli, and he asked, like, if you had that password, why could you why did you not hand it to Baba? And Sifuna also spoke about the problem that we have, especially with the devolution. He talks about is the central government is still continue hammering the president and his administration, yet there is this support that the Right Honorable Prime Minister is offering to President William Ruto. Does it mean that he has reached a no-care zone, that what comes, let it come, I'm prepared for it? Miguda, can you hear me, sir? Thank you so much, and let me just continue with the Barak before we wind up. But I will be running. We call it a dry run with what we call YOLO Box live. I don't know how it is operating. Luckily enough, there's somebody decided to assist us with one, and I don't know how to operate it still, but they told me there's a way in which you can use it to invite guests to the studio. I'm still reading, so one day we will do a dry run. Ikituuma pia mtatusamee. Barak, there's a very good somebody, a good Samaritan decided to give us something that is very this technology, because of a good work. So I'm still studying it. He has given us YOLO Box Ultra. Yeah, still studying it. So let's look at. I was asking Miguda about, and even you can at least give your view, because like despite the fact that the agreement and resolution and even the committee has been put in place to oversee the implementation of the 10-point agenda, but you still find Sifuna is still hammering the president. Especially, he talks about the problem when it comes to leadership is in the Statehouse. When it comes to devolution, is still pointing a finger at the executive. Does it mean that Sifuna has reached a point whereby whether you fire him or you don't fire him, he doesn't care?
Okay, Miguda.
Okay, I believe that from what I've seen, or from what Sifuna is doing, or young people who have differ with the position of the party, like Babu Owino, to me, these young people are overambitious, and they want to be like Babu. We want to be governor, you understand? And Sifuna also want to be the senator. But now, Sifuna already admitted a declaration that even if Raila supports William Ruto, as for Sifuna, he will vote against Ruto. So maybe doesn't want to get distracted from what he said earlier, or maybe if people, he fear that people say, okay, you are not a man enough, you have changed your mind. But I would advise Sifuna that only a fool never changes his mind or her mind. There's times whereby you can change your mind; it doesn't matter. But now, not that you have to be rigid. You have to be fixed that once I made a decision to support Raila Odinga, so I must support Raila Odinga come what may. No, sometimes you can decide depending on the interest. So for Sifuna, me, I just people can lie to you actually that just resign. We'll vote for you. How sure are you that these people are going to vote for you outside ODM? There's no surety here. And even the case of Babu Owino. Babu is popular, yes, in Nairobi gubernatorial contest, but there's no surety that whether you are with independent or partyless, we're gonna vote for you. You know, voters might lie to you, but there are some dynamics in politics whereby they can make a deal that as ODM, you're gonna support Ruto as the president, as the UDA, but Nairobi gubernatorial gonna be our ODM. But whoever they gives a certificate can clinch. And also, you cannot outrule Raila in Nairobi politics because the population it controls, the so-called goons, the so-called Islando, those are the majority. You understand? And I've told people here that the so-called Westlands people, or in quote unquote the posh people, most of them don't vote in Nairobi. And just I gave you some cases. Even William Ruto himself, he doesn't vote in Nairobi. Even Gachagua himself doesn't vote in Nairobi. Even Karua herself don't vote. These people you are seeing living in Karen, in Lavington, most of them are voting home because they vote at home. But the people who can't get access to transportation like air transport during that time or having personal vehicle, they don't see the need to go back and vote in Nairobi because they are there. Those majority of them are voting in Nairobi. And you just do even your own mapping, you'll find that all these people you are seeing are wealthy people. They have the connection with the people back at home because they are highly regarded at home, and most of them might also buy some seats at home, so they prefer to go back and vote at home. And even during the voting time, you will see many people going back at home. Naenda kupiga kura nyumbani. No, because they understand that the connection with the people at home. But the people you want to outrule, this Raila's fanatic base, these are the people who are voting in Nairobi. So it is very important to get in touch with them as a contester in the Nairobi gubernatorial. So in the case of Babu Owino and also Edwin Sifuna, to me, Babu Owino, I can give him a benefit of doubt, but Sifuna, I have an issue. Sifuna getting outside of ODM might destroy him. Sifuna is not that much strong like Babu. You understand? Babu is a strong leader in his capacity. There are many wars he has fought before, and he has succeeded those wars. Unlike Sifuna has just been a mouthpiece of the party, getting that platform from Raila Odinga. And there are people who have been having similar positions, like Ababu Namwamba. Ababu Namwamba was good when defending Raila Odinga. So when he went to attack Raila Odinga, he became irrelevant. Sifuna is only good by defending Odinga and the ODM party. But going to attack the same party he has been defending, he's gonna be relevant. That I can tell you. So, and I have a reservation that as a young people, also, we need to fight for our space. So if you see them fighting for their space to an extent of losing their seats, I have no problem with that one, because no one will uplift you. No one will carry your hand. You must fight for your space, because the same people who are telling you that, okay, you wait, the future is tomorrow, that you're the leaders of tomorrow. This future is not forthcoming. This future, we are here. We haven't even get to position of the assistant chief. So it means just fight for your space as a young person. That one I'll advise them. But even the old people will also try not to they don't want you to chase them out of town. They will try so hard to make sure that they retain the status quo. People like Atwoli, people like Oburu. May I focus on Oburu's speech and Atwoli's speech. They were very particular. that even if you know everything in this world, even if you are clever, remember there are people who are there before you and have worked hard to be there. So don't come and push them out of town. But remember, even them, people like Raila, Oburu, Atwoli, they push their predecessors at their prime age. They fought so hard to an extent that Raila was detained. And there are so many detainees, including Opiyo Wandayi. They fought for those positions. So as a young people, even if we are taking advice from the elders, and also we are looking upon them, but there is no lapse whereby we are not going to fight. Let us just fight for our space, and the young people, let them just fight for their space. Some people are ready to lose their seat. But also remember, Babu's problem is not my problem. If he becomes the governor, me, I have nothing to lose or to gain. And even if he doesn't become the governor, I have nothing to lose to gain. But if he can fight for his space, the better for him. But if he can decide to be compromised, that is up to him. And there's no day somebody will come and take you from your house and made you a governor. You must start that journey by yourself. So in conclusion, I would like just to say, as we progress as a nation, the young people should also be given an opportunity to fight for their space. The issue of intimidation, threats, and also compromising young people should come to an end. Let us have a free society whereby, as old people advancing, even we, the young people, are allowed to do our advancement at our level.
Thank you so much, Miguda, for that. Barak, maybe if you can give us your thought, especially on Edwin Sifuna continuing with attack on the president, and knowing very well that now there's that working relation between the ODM and UDA, and maybe from the look of things or from the indication, look at how our Raila has always progressed, especially when it comes to the handshake. He has always run for presidency, or if he doesn't run for presidency, but when he leaves that party is not normal. See what happened with Kanu. He left Kanu. What happened? What party again did he? Is that for that party to come back is not very easy. So when you look at what is happening, them having this political arrangement with the President William Ruto, the telltale sign shows that they might work beyond 2027. So where does that one leave Sifuna with these attacks?
Thank you so much, Brother Ben. Let me just pick it up from where my brother Migudas left, and talking about the young people to fight for the space. And I think Babu Wino has made it clear that he wants to be the governor, and I think he has all the rights to fight for that space. But Sifuna has not made any declaration that he wants to become anything else apart from the senator. And from my observation, I've not seen him as a senator in ODM, that position being threatened by anybody. So him coming out to fight, I don't think he's fighting for anything. He's just fighting for maybe for something that we don't know. Maybe because nobody has threatened that position. It's only Babu Wino that has been maybe seen any threat because Raila has been very closely to Sakaja. And since Babu Wino wants to become the governor, he must fight for that space because that is his ambition is at threat. But when coming to Sifuna, I think some fights are not really guided by wisdom, like this one of Sifuna. Sifuna is coming out to as someone who is he's very good in debates, but when it comes to political wisdom, he's proving that he's not really very full of wisdom. Because number one, the reason why I'm saying this, Brother Ben, you cannot be fighting your home, your brothers and your sisters, and your neighbors are cheering you, and you feel that you are doing very well. I don't know if you will now, if you are banished from your home, will you go to your neighbors and start now inherit them as your brothers and sisters? No, that's not how life works. Because people who are cheering Sifuna as he keeps on defying ODM are people who are enemies of ODM. Just let me put it politically. Those are enemies of ODM, yeah? And him holding the position of SG in ODM, SG is very powerful, just
It's very
next to
powerful. Yeah.
the party leader. So the people who are cheering him as he does this, are those people friends of ODM or are people who are detractors of ODM? Yeah. And if he gets out of ODM because of that pride and arrogance, he thinks that when he goes somewhere, he starts by saying mimi ndio Sifuna, katibu mkuu wa ODM, so is that kind of bravado and everything, will he be embraced the other side of those who are cheering him? Those are the questions that you ask yourself as a politician, because he's still very young, and I think he wants to become the senator again, if Nairobi, if God willing. And maybe because I know he fears Babuino, cannot confront Babuino and to say that he want to be a governor. That one I can assure you. The reason why Babuino declared is because sometimes you declare so that you can scare away people who might want to afraid to confront you.
Yeah.
He's one of those people who are afraid to confront Babuino. That is why he has stayed clear of that. Maybe even if when people say, "Oh, we can be a governor," he has never responded because he understands. So now let us now evaluate Sifuna as a leader. Sifuna is the Senator of Nairobi County. We've had allegation of Nairobi County being run down by the governor. What has Sifuna done? Because the role of the senator is to oversight the county government. Yeah, have we seen Sifuna oversighting Nairobi County government? Yeah, or he has focused on the president, which is not his role. Yeah, and even in his attacks to the president, these attacks are so personal than institutional. Yeah. Because he went ahead to say that even the president does not have his number, so he cannot call. Yeah, and his attacks to the president are so personal that you can evaluate them. There's something that he's after that the public does not really understand. But because we are in an environment where politics is so emotive, people cannot be objective enough. Because we can only evaluate a leader and understand whether he's effective by analyzing how he has performed his role. He was elected to oversight the Nairobi County government as the Nairobi senator. We have not seen him coming out clearly to oversight that, to play that role critically, because there are so many things that have happened in Nairobi County government that have not really served the interest of the Nairobians. Yeah, we've not really seen him either working closely with the governor, to ensure that the Nairobians receive services. We've not seen him to intervene when the county government is not working. We've seen maybe the hospitals that are under Nairobi County government. We've had so much complaints, yeah, but we've not seen him coming out clearly, yeah. You will hear him talking about Shah and directing his anger at the president, but he has not been directing his anger at the governor, who is supposed to be oversighting. Yeah? So, is that a leader who is pro-people, or is that a leader who is populist? Because a leader who is pro-people is a leader who ensures that the people that he's representing receive services. The people that he's representing are their interests are well taken care of. Yeah, but populist leaders choose things that are popular, things that will make them trend, things that they will be seen that they are fearless, they can face the president. But that is not his role. Yeah. So if we can evaluate his role and how he has performed in terms of oversighting the Nairobi County government, then from there we can say Sifuna is a good leader, not because he understands how to speak good English, maybe not he understands how to disgrace his opponents during a debate, but because of the role that he's played, that he was elected, that he's being paid by the exchequer of oversighting Nairobi County government, legislating, and then taking care of devolution. Yeah, because if you blame the president, he has not been doing ABCD in terms of devolution. What have you done as a senator? Have you brought any bill to Senate? Yeah, and maybe the president bought some senators and the bill was shut down, because the Senate exists in Kenya to safeguard devolution, and to oversight county governments. I've not seen that from him. I've not seen him being a champion of devolution in terms of legislating and even calling out when the Nairobi county government is going wrong. So is he a good leader in terms of performance, or is he just another populist leader emerging? Those are questions that Kenyans should be asking themselves before clapping aimlessly and being filled with emotions. And Raila and Ruto, you talked about Raila joining a party and he left that party in shambles. I think that was only happened in KANU. KANU and LDP started with cooperation. They went into partnership and they went into merger. And once they merged, that was the beginning of the end of KANU.
What about Jubilee?
Pardon?
Jubilee.
No, Jubilee did not go into Jubilee. They were in what we call a handshake arrangement. That and Jubilee was really not. Jubilee was a party of parties. Jubilee was formed by other parties collapsing themselves and joining in. And so those parties just regrouped and left. And I think it was because of the leadership of Jubilee itself. It was not, Raila did not, nobody left, Raila did not influence anybody from leaving Jubilee. I think those parties that formed Jubilee, they just regrouped, URP left and joined with other people, and those small parties left. But if you look at what happened with KANU, Raila came and inspired confidence and courage in people who are there for many years. The likes of Kalonzo, the likes of Saitoti, the likes of Olentimama. Those who are loyalists of Moi. Yeah. So they never thought in their lifetime that they can even stand up against Moi and tell him off. But when Raila joined and he started doing that, so he inspired courage to these leaders. And when they were walking out, they all walked out in solidarity. And KANU was left with only a handful of Kalenjin people. But going forward, it has been working in coalition agreements in parliament. That's why you see people with experience like Metangula, they will never agree to dissolve Ford Kenya to join it because they understand. They understand the journey. So, and I think even Raila working with UDA might just rebrand because we understand that there are so many things that have happened, and UDA might wish to rebrand itself, but that will not be courtesy of Raila Odinga, because even Ruto, he has that history in mind. When Raila was walking out of KANU with this guy, Ruto was there as a young politician, a first-time member of parliament for the Eldoret North. So he understands that you cannot just fold your party and join hands with this Mzee. He might inspire courage in other people, and when he walks out, you will be left alone in just of something. So I think that informs their arrangement. And Raila is much focused on building ODM as his personal brand, because he also wants to leave a legacy, because he has been here, and he wants to leave a legacy in terms of ODM as a political party. And maybe those that he will leave ODM in their hands maybe will destroy it later on, but not under his watch.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Barak, for your contribution. And Miguda, also, maybe thank you so much for also staying with us. It's almost 2 hours. And for those who are watching us, we also want to take this opportunity to thank you so much for joining us this morning. I know in the evening, Makobura will be coming with the evening show, and I hope you will join and listen to him as he will be having conversation on the leadership of the country, and also talking about the Luo festival that happened. I don't know how the Luos enjoyed, but like we will get the information. Then to me, I will see you Monday in the evening. That will be my time. Barak and Miguda, thank you so much for joining. May you have a blessed Sunday as we talk in the evening. Thank you so much, and may God bless you all.
Thank you, and blessed Sunday to you too.
All right.
Bye.